Welcome back to the I Never Worry podcast with DB and John, where we discuss emotional intelligence with everyday people who manage everyday situations. We're so glad that you joined us for the part 2 of our interview with DJ Igor Beatz and Square of BayLifeRadio. Thanks to everyone who listened and provided us with some good feedback. In part 1, we discussed, amongst many things, the emotional intelligence skill sets of self-awareness and managing reactions. Today, we're going to continue that conversation in part 2, exploring yet another skill set of emotional intelligence, managing professional relationships. This is going to be good, y'all. So without further delay, it's part 2 of our conversation with DJ Igor Beatz and Square of BayLifeRadio right here on your I Never Worry podcast.
But I want to spin around the table. We got a question of the day, like, why is emotional intelligence important? So I want to start with you, Square, because we've been knowing each other for a little while, and you have a calm demeanor, and you're a very laid-back dude, and you also had opportunity to experience the training.
Right.
So I'd like to just hear from you, just in terms of comparison. Why is emotional intelligence important? And then, after you had the training, did it enhance? Did it give you a different perspective? Was it things you already knew? It just validated? Give me some feedback on that.
So I'm gonna start with what I think my interpretation of emotional intelligence is, based off of what you've shown me, and also now that I've had, like you said, the training and a better understanding. To me, it boils down to the choices that we make when a situation, a opportunity, a just normal everyday life is presented to you, and how you can make, like you said, solutions happen or goals met, things of that nature, and not put yourself in a negative light, because to me there's nothing negative about being intelligent. And if it's based off of your emotion and how you feel, and if your emotion and how you feel dictate how you move in most of your decisions, it's best to be intelligent about it. So that's my interpretation of it. Is it important? Of course, because in today's society, we are at a point where things are very volatile. The littlest thing, going back to your situation in the post office, that could have been something that could have been really, like you said, lost freedom. That man could have snapped because you said something, and it could have been something detrimental to everybody in the post office. We've seen that. My thing is, yes, it's very important to think, and that's why I'm laid back the way I am. Yeah, I'm going to sit back and not feel good about that type of situation, that white privilege was exercised. But at the same time, knowing I'm in America, knowing the corporation that it is and the system that it lays down from day one, I'm not surprised. So I try to look at it as, hey, you can't get mad at a dog for barking. That's what he do. Yeah, you might not like it. It might disturb your peace, might cause a certain situation that you don't want to deal with. But yet and still, it's still a dog. Stepping into what you were just saying about your 12-year-old or just these kids in general, going to Google and things of that nature to get their answer when they can't get it from you or whoever else and stuff. We have to practice emotional intelligence and give them that. So that's why I said that you got to give them an answer. Yeah, the old school way, because I said so. But in today's society, you don't want to do that. You don't want to send them to what I call the dummies that are out here that think they know it all, but they haven't experienced it all, so they really can't tell you. They can go by, yeah, I can read Igor's shirt and say I never worry, but how do we interpret that? And what is it that you're going to worry about? And sometimes worrying about something will bring about more positive change, meaning like your mama worries about you when you're out on the street as a kid. she's not wrong for worrying about you. That's her genuine love for you. So sometimes you can worry, but to somebody that don't understand what your message is behind that, they might misinterpret it. So it's like, what's everybody's focus in life and what do they pay attention to? So when we don't worry or when we use emotional intelligence, it's not really a worry, it's more of genuine concern.
Thank you.
So
come
the emotional part of it is, like I said, mama's genuine love. So to answer the question, which I hope I did, very important. It's best to use it, and when you do, to me, you have less worry. So that's why you never worry.
Yes, sir. What about you, Igor?
Oh man,
Why is EI important to you? Let me dial it directly to you. Why is EI important to you?
short answer: safety, health. As a youngster, I had a short temper, and it kept me in trouble. It kept me, I learned when I was growing up, you never win a fight if you had to get into it, because even if you beat the other person up, you done swole your hand up. He done got in a few licks you got to take care of, so...
nowadays, you be on YouTube.
Yeah. And then most cats nowadays, they don't even know how to fight. Right. So, and they go to a whole nother level. So, yeah, as far as the intelligence of your emotions, I think it's real important as far as, just keeping this generation safe. Somebody's got to teach them the value of just taking a few minutes to think about what they about to do.
What about in your profession? Both in your profession, like, how, dealing with clients and their needs and with the music and how they want things set up and the payment schedule and all that kind of. Let's talk about what's, to you, like in your world, your lens. How does it play in your profession? How often do you got to use EI?
And take a step back, like, we didn't properly introduce these gentlemen. Like, why don't you tell the people, like, what your profession is and what it is that y'all do first?
Okay. All right. Well, I'm DJ Igor Beatz, and that's what I do. I DJ, produce in the studio, engineer, the fix-it man.
Like I did this morning on this podcast. Right.
And in fact, just even looking at that in the emotional intelligence part, it took a long time at first, like hooking things up like this, it took a week. 2 weeks. Now I'm down to like 2 days, an hour, 30 minutes, just because, sometimes you just have to step by step, check things out, slow down, just look at things for what they are and see how they work before you react to them. And, it come together.
And I could tell, I don't know how you used to handle things, though, but I could tell that you definitely have a matured approach because everything that you couldn't figure out, it almost like you took on this character, like, I'm about to get this. You like, I can't go to sleep, and you were smiling. You wasn't frustrated. You wasn't rubbing your head. You were like, and with confidence, you like, it's got to be just one thing. We're going to figure this out.
It's a solution.
And so you moved gracefully through the process, which is why we're able to record now. Because we, last time we sat down, couldn't get this far. And me and Cuzzo will tell you, I'm so quick to be like, forget it. Yeah. Like, that's my defense mechanism.
This equipment was almost on eBay. He was selling it.
I almost sold it. Hey, and somehow track this gig out.
I used to be there. I used to be there, right there. But somehow I found a delight in what I call like debunking what's against me. If it's against me, I want to just sit back. Like even in the DJing, I like to think of it as like we deal with quote unquote 400 personalities a day, and to get through it, you gotta smile somewhere or another with each one of them, because everybody's not gonna like the path you take, and whether they like it or not, you still got to deal with them. That's what I had to learn. And if you let it eat you up, you know, if you don't work with it with a smile or work with it like I'm already at an advantage, even though I'm losing, you know, that's how I look at it, because if nothing else, I'm finna learn something, you know, so.
Emotional intelligence.
Yes, sir. That's why they say your attitude determines your altitude, right? Because a lot of people, because see, people forget this one thing, like, when something is happening to you, right, it ain't only happening to you. Right. There's nothing that you experience in life was unique to you. Right. And, you know, unfortunately, in some of my more challenging coaching or consulting sessions, when people are grieving, right, but one of the strategies that I've been able to infuse in that process is to give them the perspective of you see this tragedy happen every single day. When you get up in the morning and you look at the news gives you an indicator of all the madness that's happening every day, which is crazy because the universe has this unique way of reminding you why we should be moving gracefully through life, right? I mean, when you wake up and you see all the things that happen on the news, you know, CHP officer just, you know, got killed on a freeway, or a baby got left in the car, or a shooting, or a fire, all these multitude of things, bombings, and it didn't happen to you. Ideally, when you travel and navigate through the world through the day, you should be high-fiving everybody you seem like, hey, you made it too? Right? Blessings. Right? It should be, but we move so far away from it, right? And that is why our platform that we're putting together, I think, is so vital. We're trying to bring back just the human kindness and kinship amongst each other. Right. And the only way to really do that is to remove all these feelings that are built up that you have some of your behavior, your attitudes, you know, it's not even yours. Right. It's what you've been seeing, it's what you've been taking in, because we all are a sum of our experiences. Exactly. And we forget that. And so what we try to do is help people kind of sort that out and understand what now. There are times when you're gonna have to beast up, right? And to protect, back to what you said, Igor, safety. Somebody breaking your house. I'm not talking about emotional intelligence, right? And we're not talking about that. We're not talking about when somebody's trying to physically harm you, right? But even then, and this is, you know, even then, there should be some EI, but it's what you doing, boy? Sit still over there. And it's like, you know, because when I was working at the probation department, you know, we had to restrain young people like quite often. And a lot of times, like once people get in the adults, right, get in that mode of restraining, they all gas, no brakes. Right. And so, but even in that process, you got to find a space where you pull yourself back. Like you got the youngster contained, he's in cuffs, right? You don't need to put your knee in the back of his neck. Right. But what happens, that adrenaline gets up there, and what they're telling themselves, like, you didn't just make me, you know, I got to stay over, and I got to do paperwork. All the things, whatever they're telling themselves gets transferred into that process. And then they don't want to go back and talk to the youngster. And so even in physical situations, right, and the law will tell you that's the cold part about it. Like a lot of people get caught up because somebody could break in your house, right? But if he takes off running and you shoot him, you're in trouble. You're done. Right. But in that moment, you like, what do you mean? You shouldn't have been in my house. But then,
unless you're in Texas.
In the war. Unless you're in Texas, right? And some of these other, you know, stand your ground states. But in general, California for sure, right? You will definitely have to go through that process. In terms of, but in your moment, you like, this is closed case. He or she got everything they had coming. But when all the emotions are gone and you're in the courtroom and somebody who's not emotionally attached to it, they're going to point out the facts and they're going to go, but how was he a threat if they were leaving? And if you without the proper EI, you would never put that in perspective in the moment. And so, you know, it's all about just being able to, in a moment's notice, catch yourself. Emotional intelligence, it's about this. It's about What is your mood and attitude at all times? Like, do you know your temperature at all times? So how do you feel? What are you doing with that feeling? Right? Who's around?